The story of Tiem. 0 NCE. Upon a time, a young man whose name was Tiem was a slave. He was sold to a king named Vong. Tiem was clever. He learned Vietnamese language very fast. Further, he knew so many stories, places, and could do everything so good, so he was liked by Vong very much that wherever Vong had come, he also came with him. 3 years later, he was Vong let to become a noble and was stayed in a building near the castle. Besides, Vong made his daughter become his wife. Tiem now had wife, a 5-year-old son, servants, and assets. He seemed to lack nothing. Although he had never been arrogant, people still were jealous with his luck. One day, people who were participating in a party complimented as much as they could, but he only said that because of my previous life, I had done many kind things. Because of his beliefs, all people who followed thought that all things they had and recently were a result of what they had done in previous life. People who hated him went to report Vong. They said that Tiem was a proud. Vong was angry. After hearing, he roared, "He is too sassy." Today, he can say that. I wonder how he can be sassy in the future. Detain him immediately. That afternoon, he was detained. He now realized that he had said without noticing. He talked to himself that he had to meet that unfortunate thing because he had done bad things in previous life. Meanwhile, people who were in castle were discussing how to punish him. Someone suggested killing him and someone suggested cutting his legs, but only one made Vong pleased. "My lord, he deserves to be died. But when he died, he still think that all things he had are a result of good things he had done in previous life. We must make him realize what he had are from you. My lord, not from his previous life. I know a wild island in the sea. You should send him to it, and he will have time to think about who give him his luck this recent life until he stopped breathing," said an old nobleman. Vong nodded. But he added, "Give him enough food for a month." The day when he was sent to the island, his wife, though, was prevented by everyone. She still brought their son and went with him. She always believed in her husband. She said, "If elephants were born, of course, grasses have grow up." But when she landed in the island, saw large wild sand with nobody, she felt unhappy, fell her head on her husband's shoulder, burst into sobs. "We will die in there," she said. Tiem was hugging the son on his arms and said his wife, "God always observe us. Don't worry. We have to cheer up, then we will find out the way to survive." The first day, they found a cave which was large enough to hold 3 of them lived in. The early days, their life was easy. They could take water from streams and salt from the sea. Every day, Tiem woke up very early, wandered around the island to find some things which could eat. His wife stayed in the cave, took care of their child. At last, the food they had been given by the king was over. He had to go to forest to hunt, and his wife also went to find some fruit. The first day, he brought nothing back. His wife, on the other hand, brought some wild apples which had strong sour flavors, so they had to sleep with empty stomach. The second day, Tiem brought some fish he had caught. Then he could fill their stomach with a little fish, but they still slept in hunger. The third day, Tiem brought a big strange black bird. But, ouch, its taste is terrible, said the son. Then they ate some apple and grapes the wife had brought. Day by day, he went to forest deeper and deeper, and his wife spent more and more time to wander around, found more fruit that could fill full their stomach. Days later, it became easier, but they always felt hungry. One day, when my Tiem was hunting, he saw birds which flew from the west, landed on the sand. When they saw him and his wife, they yelled loudly, then dropped some seeds. He took the seeds and put them into the ground front their cave. Every day, the son watered while he was hunting and the wife was picking. A short time later, plants grew up from ground. They spread widely around. They bore green fruit what needed 1 month to have sizes as a football. When the fruit were ripe, their peels changed into little yellow. My Tiem picked one fruit and cut it into two. It showed up red meat fruit with black seeds inside its peel. He bit a piece. "Wow, it is so sweet," he said. They called them West melons because it was taken by birds from the west. From that time, they tried to grow as much as they could. They planned to eat that fruit instead of rice. One day, a lost fishing boat went to the island. After helping them repair their boat, my Tiem gifted them some fruit. As they ate those fruit, they liked them very much and wanted to take them to their country. Therefore, they had an agreement that they would bring rice for my Tiem and received fruit. Every week, the boat took rice to the island and brought fruit away that made their life became easier. They had rice to eat, then had clothes, other seeds, chickens, pigs, knives, and all things they needed. My Tiem now was sitting by his wife and his son. He said, "The God didn't leave us behind. He gifted us a rare kind of fruit that saved our life. Thanks for God's goodness." People who had eaten the fruit said that they had never seen a kind of fruit which was rare as the fruit. Many people talked that they would give as much as rice they could to get a melon. After 3 years, name of my Tiem spread widely. People called him Father of Melon. About Hung Vong, he always remembered his and had said his name twice front his servants. But whenever he said, "How is my Tiem now?" his servants always said, "Maybe he died." Hung Vong did not believe. He forced a noble to come to the island and brought food for them. A month later, he came back and brought many melons and said, "This is present my Tiem give you, my lord." He said, Hung Vong all things my Tiem had passed in his recent life. My Tiem now had a luxurious building with dozens of maids, fields with full of melons and rice, so many pigs, chickens. After hearing, Hung Vong was surprised. He said, "It can be true that things he had were result of good things he had done in his previous life." Then he forced his soldiers to bring them back to castle. He presented him 2 maids to console him. Of course, my Tiem lived in people's respect from that time until he died.